Ruben Amorim and Jason Wilcox have got a huge decision coming up this very week, and the options are only getting smaller and smaller. But before we get into that, please smash the likes. Subscribe if you're brand new. This is Manchester United we're talking about. And in general, we are talking about that man, Benjamin Sesko, all the way from RB Leipzig. As we know, Cesco is holding out for Manchester United over Newcastle. Don't blame him. Everyone's rejecting there. But the question is always going to be down to finances and decision making. Now, we all know what Manchester United prefer, in terms of Premier League experience. I don't know how many times we have to go over it, but Cesco doesn't fit that bill. But maybe because of age, you might get a bit more of a longevity type deal for that might be worth the money. But United, in general, do have a huge decision, because if you're going to go for this man, then surely you make it kind of known. We don't know who United have picked, but it seems like the route is going to go down to Ollie Watkins. Newcastle are trying to move as fast as possible. We don't know what's going to go and happen with the likes of Anthony, the Saudi Arabia or the Saudi League interested in the likes of Al Nassr and another club that we don't know. Whether there's been a bid or interest, we yet to get some more details on that matter. Man United reportedly wanting around 50 million, which I don't believe. I think United would be happy to even accept 35 million if given the offer, let alone 30 million. You could do a lot of cash, right? But if we keep going on like this, then it does boil down to one man, which is the name Ollie Watkins, maybe the likes of Jean-Philippe Mateta. But in terms of Benjamin Sesko, these don't need to mind. There's so many internal meetings and stuff like that, yada, 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 repetitive updates by the likes of Fabrizio Romano. We don't know what we're really going for. And I feel like us fans do need somewhat of some sort of clarity if we are to know what our striker choice will be. I just want to know by now, because it's getting to that point where it's nearly August. We had a long wait for the Mbumo saga, and we're all left in the dark. It's just report after report. Watkins, we don't want to pay 60 million. Good choice. No one wants to pay 60 million for the likes of Ollie Watkins. But in the same breath, there was a gentleman's agreement before with the likes of Benjamin Sesko and RB Leipzig. I feel like with the likes of us, and I know Leipzig, there's a connection with Vivel as well, and Vivel has been pushing for him. But with Arsenal, they also dragged this one out. So why would they not drag this one out with us? We're one of those special clubs, quote by Fabrizio Romano. So this whole gentleman's agreement. Has any gentleman's agreement been granted this, has it ever been fulfilled this summer? Because last time I checked, Visser's deal's been absolutely collapsed. When it comes to this gentleman's agreement with the likes of Victor Gyökeres, that's had a whole U-turn. That took some time. So who said that wouldn't happen with Benjamin Sesko? If in somehow or some way the fee went down to the likes of 50 million, then that'd be amazing. But I don't think it's going to be in that world where Leipzig are going to be bullied into that kind of situation unless the player makes it known, which he kind of has, that he wants to leave Germany. With Newcastle steady on, with the replacement of Isak, they're scrambling all around the world to try and get some sort of signing in because they're struggling. I think you should just let them go for it. They want to show Cesco that this is a important project. But this is why you need to be here. You're going to be the main number 9. I mean, go for it. Be my guest. Everyone knows my preference by now. But Wilcox, Ruben Amorim, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, as is reportedly been said, how much he is involved. But in terms of sporting decisions, I don't know. It's just rumours. We need to know. Now, United's direction has got to be firm and clear. If you're going to say Premier League proven, then deliver us Premier League proven. Because if you're going to go to the likes of Benjamin Sesko, and I don't know if any of you agree or disagree, we might be in another Rasmus Hojlund situation. Rasmus Hojlund, as much as he looked somewhat decent compared to what he usually is, yesterday, or was it the other day? The other day, against West Ham, even though it was at night, so whatever. That's not enough. You can't have a young striker with another young striker battling out for one another. I don't think that bodes well. If you want someone to learn off of someone that's been doing it, then that's the best way to go further forward. I don't want Hojlund a part of this setup, but I've already come to the conclusion that United don't care if he stays or goes, because there's not going to be a good enough proposal that's going to be in line to take him away from Old Trafford to the likes of Italy, where he's been linked with. You know, in the likes of Benjamin Sesko, he's got a lot of qualities we do like, but you know, when Fabrizio saying an important deal between maybe 70, 80 million euros, so that's between the likes of 60, 70 million pounds plus a bunch of add-ons, you're getting round to the Rasmus Hojlund figure. And I don't feel like United, as much as Cesco wants United, is going to entertain anything along those lines. We simply can't afford it. And I don't feel like he's worth the gamble. With reports that have come out about him, scam reports and stuff like that in the last few days or of late, you know, he hasn't lived up to the hype or expectation, only bagging a minimum number of, you know, Bundesliga goals, considering that if you're one of the better counterparts, surely if you're this lethal striker that you're told that you're going to be absolutely getting like 20 plus. And Leipzig are not no scrubs. They usually deploy quite good teams. You've got Xavi Simons around you. You've got the likes of Loïc Openda. You should be able to do a lot more. There's a lot of quality there. In the Bundesliga, where there's a lot of mid-blocks, it should suit the likes of Cesco, who runs in behind and pretty much like Haaland beforehand, just bags lots of goals. I don't feel like he's ready to lead Man United's number 9 spot. And I feel like many of you, even though there was a bit of a mixed response in the earlier live yesterday, I don't feel like he's going to hit the heights. I feel like he's someone that you bring in on top of a Watkins, on top of a Mateta. Not saying they're the greatest options in the world, but for what's available, that's the one they've got to be understudy for. He is about a year late, a year too early for my liking. I need someone that we can rely on. You want to get back into the Premier League, then Jason Wilcox, sir, you need to go make the right decisions and say, this is who we're going to go for, and this is the one lead lines, not the likes of the lap. Going to get the lap would end in disaster. We'd probably be chasing Mbumo still by now, or he'd be at Tottenham. And, you know, sometimes it's the luck of the draw. You know, I feel like it's lucky we didn't get the lap, but I can see what the vision was. You probably wanted Mbumo, the lap, Cunha as your free, but, you know, life doesn't work how we need it to be. You know, United are in a precarious kind of situation. You know, sells, we're always getting told, sells is what's going to bring in your said striker, whether it's a more expensive striker or not. I feel like all the strikers are expensive. You know, if you're looking at Moise Keane, who's worth about 40 million, who we've been linked with, let alone to the Ollie Watkins, you don't want to pay the 60, that's still a little expensive to us. You know, we still got a goalkeeper to look at, maybe a central midfielder. Maybe Anthony can hold the key for why we can do a lot more in this window than what we pretty much predicted, because we thought he's going to go Batiste. Garnacho could add on top of that fund. So a lot of it is a lot of copium, a lot of hope as well. We'll see what happens in the remainder. But from what my Muppeteers were saying, you know, he can't say what, but everyone knows who his favourite striker is. And it is Ollie Watkins. If you haven't seen it, go check it out for yourself. He tweeted last night. So whether he's credible or not, let me know in the comments. I would like to know if you feel like he's still someone trustworthy or not. But if you do make the right decision in the terms of bringing in Ollie Watkins, you're bringing in a lot of goals. And you can see even through the West Ham that we're still lacking goals. Obviously, Mbumo's not on the pitch. But what happens when he goes AFCON? We can't have it being a point where we're not scoring enough. So that's exactly why United are going for a striker. This is do or die. We need to get back into what pays us the most, which is the Champions League, so we can fulfill that squad the way it needs to get back to the glory days again under Ruben Amorim. It's a long way off. It is a long way off. I don't know what striker situation you guys want. I don't know what striker situation I truly want. One breath, I want Mateta, and then the other, I want Watkins. They both bring something different. I still think Mateta is the best option to go for in terms of age. You know, the way he'd bring in a lot of players. His relentless pressing as well. He's not that too dissimilar from the likes of Watkins, but Watkins' engine, and he's a lot more proven in different areas, will tell you that, you know, 7 times out of 10, he probably scores a goal. Not 9 times out of 10. He's not that clinical. I feel like he's the one. Get your comments in down below. Who would you prefer? Do you want Cesco? We've got 7 days, apparently. Last week, and we should know who's at the door. Whose door should we knock on is the better question. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff, and wait for the next video. And hopefully, we have a decent update rather than a repeated update from Fabrizio and the rest of them. So, have a lovely day.